Well, there was a bombshell press conference where Epstein survivors, victims of Epstein, came forward and called on the Trump administration for transparency, to support legislation that's currently being debated over, to compel the Trump administration to release those files, and calling on, yes, Trump to participate in supporting that. And also, they just need a few more Republicans. And it's the Republicans that are the impediment. Democrats are unanimously in support of this legislation for full transparency and the release of anything while protecting all of the relevant victims and all of that. But anything that the government has, and victims themselves at this press conference were making this call. It was very, very powerful. I'll show you some clips. I'll show you what you saw on screen there, which is Fox News's interesting timing for when they chose to cut away. But first, some context. This was a really chilling moment from the press conference.
Come along and speak up so that we can be more of a stronger voice and louder.
And so what is your message to President Trump on this matter?
Listen, I don't want to send a direct message to him. I'm already scared enough. Yeah, just pass the vote. Listen to us. This is not a hoax.
Yeah, I'm already scared enough. I don't want to give a direct message to Trump. Oof. And then you have a Republican congressman, Thomas Massie, saying that the White House has been calling up Republicans, pressuring them not to pass this discharge petition.
But you're confident you'll get the signatures?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, it's a strong effort from the White House. They're literally calling it a hostile act to sign this discharge petition now. And I don't know if that's precedented in this country to have a president call legislators to say that they're engaged in a hostile act, particularly when the so-called hostile act is trying to get justice for people who've been victims of sex crimes.
So again, why I think that it's important to show you, and there was even one of the survivors speaking out saying, not that this should matter, and maybe we'll get to that clip in a second, but I'm a registered Republican. And it's horrible to even have to say that, but this is not a hoax. This is not a Democratic hoax. And so you saw Republican right-wing Congressman Thomas Massie making that allegation that Trump or his aides are calling up Republicans, pressuring them not to support this transparency. And even Marjorie Taylor Greene, y'all know how I feel about her, but to her credit, she got up there. And this, when she started calling out the Trump government, is when Fox News went, all right.
The truth needs to come out, and the government holds the truth. The cases that are sealed hold the truth. Jeffrey Epstein's estate holds the truth. The FBI, the DOJ, and the CIA holds the truth. And the truth...
So Marjorie Taylor Greene continues speaking there at this press conference about the Epstein files, the Epstein victims as well, a highlight on them today. And you can continue watching all of this. It is streaming on foxnews.com. In the meantime, we'll get you to this as well.
What could possibly be more relevant to cut to? On their broadcast that led to the headline, Fox News cuts out of MTG Epstein presser once she criticizes Trump DOJ. Interesting there. We will get to Trump's reaction to all of this right after this press conference. It's just horrendous what he said during a presser that he was holding. But let's first hear from more of the survivors.
You have a choice. Stand with the truth or with the lies that have protected predators for decades. I am no longer weak. I am no longer powerless. And I'm no longer alone. And with your vote, neither will the next generation be. President Trump, you have so much influence and power in this situation. Please use that influence and power to help us, because we need it now and this country needs it now. Thank you.
Incredible. And you all understand, with the powerful connections that Epstein had, and with the behavior of the government for years, it's very reasonable for these folks to be extremely scared. And so the bravery to get up there in front of the world and say to a very powerful person, the most powerful person, I survived these abuses, and it's time for you to do everything in your power for complete justice, no matter if it makes certain people look bad, no matter if your name comes up a lot in association. This is about justice, not whether or not you or your friends look bad. Then this was the moment I referenced earlier that's just so horrible she would have to say this.
Question would be for the survivors, Mr. Edwards. The president has said that this Epstein issue is a hoax, is the words that he used. Can we get your reactions to what you think when you hear him say that?
I'll answer that. Mr. President Donald J. Trump, I am a registered Republican, not that that matters because this is not political. However, I cordially invite you to the Capitol to meet me in person so you can understand this is not a hoax. We are real human beings. This is real trauma.
What does it feel like emotionally to hear that?
Devastating.
It's being gutted from the inside out. Not that I would know what that feels like, but I imagine it's the anxiety buildup with the depression and the survival mode, and then your nervous system goes limp and ironically is shot. And it feels like you just want to explode inside because nobody, again, is understanding that this is a real situation. These women are real. We're here in person. To say that it's a hoax is just not... Please humanize us.
Now think about this. After that was specifically requested, stop calling this a hoax. Moments later, look what Trump does at his press conference. Just horrifying.
Mr. President, right now there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massie, who is sponsoring a discharge petition to get the House to vote on release those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting?
So just, I don't know how clear that audio is coming through for you. The reporter's question is, Massie is saying he doesn't think Trump is implicated, but Trump's donors and friends are implicated, which is some explanation for Trump's actions. And this is Trump's response.
Any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
So right after, literally, someone who knows better than anyone, a survivor of these abuses, of these assaults, of these rapes, says, please stop calling it a hoax. It is like being gutted from the inside out. It is devastating, someone else standing behind her said. And Trump does it again. Then he does it again.
All run by Democrats, or for the most part run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars.
List them. I dare you. List the 7 wars, Trump. Whatever. So he just keeps saying it and throws a temper tantrum and has apparently no sympathy for these brave individuals. Then one of them says this.
With Ghislaine Maxwell, and Jeffrey and Ghislaine were always very boastful about their friends, their famous or powerful friends, and his biggest brag forever was that he was very good friends with Donald Trump. He had an 8x10 framed picture of him on his desk with the two of them. Like, they were very
Go ahead.
Yeah. So when, according to a Republican, a previously Trump supporting Republican, Trump is pressuring Republicans not to sign on to this discharge petition, not to sign on to compelling the Trump administration into transparency. And then we have, once again, someone who knows best saying Epstein's big brag was how tight he was with Trump. The why is Trump acting this way seems oh so very clear. And then this.
I was horrified when I found out not only had Ghislaine Maxwell been transferred to what's called a low security. It really is like a holiday camp. And then afterwards, I got a notification from the Department of Justice telling me that this was going to happen when it had already happened. This woman abused children. I was abused by Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for over 10 years. Ghislaine Maxwell was present for some of my abuse at the hand of Jeffrey Epstein. She was present, she was complicit, she was enabling.
So calling out there, as you just piece together these just different events that are so hard to comprehend, that after all of the behavior we've seen from the Trump administration on this issue, and then Ghislaine Maxwell gets moved to this minimum security cushy prison, it was a massive slap in the face to these individuals, to these women, to these survivors. And you have one of them saying, we're going to release the names that we're aware of in the future.
And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
And there it is. And that's, again, as you heard in one of the earlier clips, an incredibly courageous thing to say publicly. And it went on, just one woman after another, calling for transparency, calling for justice, which they absolutely deserve. Share your thoughts in the comments.